To help us make sense of this, I'm happy to be joined by former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, welcome to the program. You know, President Trump's home was raided for the very same thing. You've been raided yourself as part of this never-ending Trump witch hunt. I mean, what justification can they possibly conjure up for not raiding all of Joe Biden's residences immediately after finding these documents in multiple locations?
The justification is that the FBI is a law enforcement organization that is operated for the benefit of the Democrat Party and Joe Biden. It's a state police. It's not in the worst sense. No longer the FBI of old. Not all the agents, but the ones at the top that have to do the bidding of a man who's become something closer to a mad dictator than a president. I mean, this is a guy who couldn't remember that his father and uncle were dead at the time of his inauguration twice. I mean, this man is completely non-functional. And I would hate to be his lawyers asking him, Joe, tell us where the rest of the documents are. They could turn up anywhere. I mean, if I'm correct, when I saw your picture, Jen, those documents are sitting right next to the car on like a table or something.
I mean, that's how it appears, you know, probably somewhere next to that bike that he fell off of. I mean, it's clearly not a very secure location. And, you know, you also have to consider the timing of this. I mean, you know, it seems like maybe Team Biden was anticipating a Republican majority in Congress to begin these investigations immediately on them, because it was back in May. I don't know if you remember this, but CNN reporting that the White House hired this special counsel, Richard Sauber. He was going to shield him from these investigations. Now, this special counsel, he's been the one communicating the findings of these documents with the public. And, you know, we also know that right before it was announced that the first batch was found, Biden's official 2024 run was being reported. I mean, it raises so many questions. We're getting a little bit of information here, but it really seems like it's just the tip of the iceberg. What do you think is going on here?
Well, I mean, I guess I should also add the point that the first set of documents were in an institute that is not very secure either, since it's largely financed by the Chinese communists. The institute that got big money from the Chinese Communist government and participates in it rather heavily. I mean, Joe's partiality for Red China is well known. We didn't know until I discovered it that the reason for that is that China paid him so much money. But remember, those documents were in that institute that's funded by China. So, I mean, this would be like John Kennedy or Ronald Reagan or Cold War taking documents over to an institute that was funded by the Soviets. And then to really show us how little he cares about our classification system, he's got it sitting in his garage on a bench. And he tells us his garage is secure. That's a normal house garage. You could knock that thing down with a sledgehammer. And there isn't a
no question about it. Imagine if Trump did that. Imagine if that was Trump's garage.
Yeah, I mean, now think about the documents that Trump has. The documents that Trump has are in Mar-a-Lago, which is hard to get into just about at the White House. It is secured not only by the Secret Service, it's secured by his own private security. I've been going there for 25 years. I know it like back of my hand. They won't let me just walk into any room. If I wanted to walk into any of the rooms near where those documents are, there'd be people all over me. So whether it's a technical violation or not, the documents held by the president, who has a right to hold them, by the way, and the right to declassify them, were under much greater level of security than this irresponsible guy had them. So, I mean, if they even dare.
Exactly. And listen, the legacy media, they want this to blow over. Nothing to see here. You know, we even heard Joy Behar the other day on The View saying, you know what, we just don't trust Trump, but we trust Biden. So essentially, we'll let it slide. And I want to get your take on this. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this, Mr. Mayor. And that's Hunter Biden, because, you know, he's always lurking in the background somewhere. And I want to know how involved he's been, because we know these documents were being stored in Joe's Wilmington home, which, you know, suspiciously enough, Hunter Biden listed as his own permanent permanent residence and a 2018 background check. In fact, in various emails, it's being reported that he frequently listed this house as his own home. I mean, meaning that he had full access. Hunter Biden had full access to these classified documents. What does that mean for this investigation, Mr. Mayor?
It means that the security of the United States was seriously breached by the vice president. I mean, this is the vice president who also sold out the United States, sold it out to Ukraine, to China, to Russia, to the highest bidder. I mean, basically the commodity that made the Bidens multimillionaires was selling Joe's public office. And we have another word for that. We call it bribery. And almost everybody else goes to jail for it. But these very entitled Bidens, who seem to be able to commit any crime imaginable, and they don't even get a subpoena.
Who do you think is behind this leak here that we're seeing? Is it somebody that doesn't want to see Biden in office beyond 2024? Or is there something else going on?
I think the Democrats are putting this out. I think, if I had to guess, Obama's calling the shots. They don't want him on the ticket. I mean, first of all, this guy is in danger of falling apart at any minute, meaning the mouth could open and nothing will come out. I mean, do you realize how serious a couple of weeks ago when he comes out and the whole story about his father and his brother, and they came to him at his inauguration to get the Purple Heart. They both were dead for 5 years before the inauguration. My goodness. And then they tell him not to say it, and he says it again 4 days later. Which everybody I've checked with who knows about this says it's clear that he's in the delusional stage now. He's beyond just dementia. He's getting into the delusion.
How much do you think he knows about these documents? He said he was surprised. Do you think at one point, maybe he has forgotten and that surprised him, but do you think he ever knew? Do you think, like Democrat Representative Hank Johnson, he said that, maybe these documents were planted? What do you speculate how they got there?
Who would plant them in his garage and stick them or plant them in the Red Chinese Institute? Give me a break. Nobody gets into that institute unless they're sucking up to the Red Chinese. They put all the money in for it. This Democrat,
I know he thinks somebody on the right's probably trying to take him down. I know there are some conservatives that say, maybe it was planted by fellow Democrats that don't want to see him in the office. There's so many different possibilities here.
I don't think you have to plant things on Joe Biden. I mean, he's committed so many felonies. Go on and go with it. The hard drive is a felony every 2 pages. And the family is a completely corrupt family. Nobody just wants to accept that. That's all. And the guy is a career criminal. He started committing crimes when he first got into the Congress, and he committed them, continuously. This is
Mr.
Joe
Mayor,
Biden.
I've got 20 seconds, but real quickly, what does this mean for Trump going forward?
What it means for Trump going forward is what it's always meant. Trump has an excellent chance of being elected again president of the United States. Anybody that counts out Donald Trump is a fool.
All right. Mayor Giuliani, always a pleasure to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for taking time tonight.